So if somebody's
Yeah.
listening to this and they maybe are pregnant right now, they hope to get pregnant in the near future or one day, what are some of the guiding questions or things you would ask them to think about so that they can really think about the process? Like, how do you steer somebody to creating something that feels like a good, aligned, healthy pregnancy and birth plan for themselves? Where do you start with something like that?
Yeah, so the first question that I would ask, and a woman can simply ask herself if she's ready to have that honest dialogue, internal dialogue, is what do I want from this experience? And it's a given that we want to feel healthy and we want a healthy baby, right? But
Hmm.
what do we want it to look like? What do we want? What's your ideal? If there was no fear, what would it look like, And go from there. So then it's like, well, I would love to, have the baby at home in the water, let's say. However, my mother had this terrible experience, or
Mm,
my friend had this terrible experience, so I'm going to do it. So, can we first identify what we want, and then how do we work through the fear of actually attaining that thing? And that's where the work is.
yeah.
Okay, so if, my friend had this emergency C-section, let me understand why these things happen. And so then we go into the realm of birth education, which most women don't do. They'll listen to maybe a podcast or two, they'll read a book, and that's kind of it. But there's actually quite a bit to unlearn. So I would ask women to set forth on the unlearning journey. We've been conditioned about what birth looks like since we're young, and we've, as women, very often are trained to self-betray in the sense that whatever the body's telling us, we might need to go against it as a means of
Mm,
survival. So, if I don't want to do this thing, but in order to be a good compliant girl that's going to stay connected to my family and my tribe, I need to do that thing, right? So we're very cooperative as a form of survival. And then what ends up happening is when it comes down to our initiation into womanhood or with birth, all that cooperation really doesn't help us in this situation.
yeah.
So, what do I want? What do I want it to look like? And what do I need to do to get there? And what do I have to let die in order to get those things?
Mm,
So, I'd say that's the place to begin. And then, of course, a great birth education so that we can unlearn and relearn. We can really understand how all of these things are connected because it's a web, right?
hmm.
So if we want to breastfeed, there are certain things that we need to do in order to get there. It's not just like, I'm on the other side, I want to breastfeed, let's do it. There are many things we can do to optimize the potential for that to be
Hmm.
successful. So setting goals, right? And then reverse engineering from there. Um, if women don't trust their body to do this, then there's some work to be done
Right.
around, the body's capacity. And sometimes it's because the body got signals previously that things weren't safe, that the body wasn't capable. So there might be an opportunity for some trauma work that has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the pregnancy or the birth.
Yeah.
And I really believe in doing that work during the pregnancy because the baby receives the benefits of that resolution as well.
All right, friends, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Radical Health Radio. We got a fresh new podcast for you every Wednesday. If you enjoyed the show, consider liking, subscribing, reviewing, and rating us on your podcast platform. It helps to spread this message of radical health. We'll see you next week.